It's the one and only Digo Double G. Snoop Dogg.
Welcome back to the Up and Coming podcast. I'm Connor McMullen, and unfortunately Tanasia Winakiri can't be here today due to the situation in COVID. This podcast is all about interviewing up and coming stars that you predict you may see on the big screen in the near future. The Up and Coming podcast is brought to you by Drayton Laumberg. The sports agency represents the next generation of athletes and helps them to achieve their goals on and off the field. Head to draytonlaumberg.com to find out more. Today we've got a very special guest, Tass. He started playing football in the New South Wales Institute before moving to the Sydney Olympics youth team in 2016. In 2017, Tass joined the Western Sydney Wanderers Academy, playing in both the club's NPL 2 grade side and the championship winning Foxtel Y League side. He made his professional debut for the Western Sydney Wanderers on the 3rd of January 2018 and has represented Australia in both under-20s and under-23s. So welcome, Tass.
Thanks, boys. Happy to be here.
Yeah, how you been?
Yeah, good, mate.
Good.
I'm alright. Yeah, just training.
Yeah.
All of that.
How's the season going so far?
Not too bad. We're almost halfway through. It was a bit disruptive at the start of the year because of all the COVID stuff with travel restrictions and all that. But at the moment, it's going pretty smoothly. So hopefully that continues.
Yeah.
Yeah, been a good year so far.
Yeah.
Sure.
And on the ladder, how are you going?
Right now, I think we're 4th,
Yep.
but it's a bit different. Some teams have some more games in hand against us.
Yeah.
We've played a few more, but so subject to change. But at the same time, we've got to verse those teams who have the game in hand. So if we beat them, we stay ahead of them. So,
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so we'll see.
So what position are you in soccer?
I'm a centre back, so I'm a defender. Yeah.
For those who aren't pretty familiar with the soccer positions, do you want to tell us what that role is?
Well, it's kind of, you're in defence, so it's kind of like the last line of defence and the first line of, I guess, attack. You kind of, you're near the goal, you're defending your goal the majority of the time, playing the ball into the midfielders and then onto the forwards who try and score the majority of the time. It's, it's a role that predominantly is associated with I guess, like leaders and whatnot. You instruct other people in your team to get back and help you as a unit defend and not concede. That's probably the main.
So do you get up the field a bit of the time to score a few goals, or you sort of hang about?
I've scored a couple goals, but it's not something I associate myself with. But I think, mainly from corners and whatnot. If you know anything about football, it's kind of like everyone just gets in the box and just cross it in, you try and score. That's probably where you're most likely to score.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
So where did you grow up? Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, so I grew up in the south of Sydney. Currently my family home's in Sylvania Waters, so it's near Cronulla.
Oh yeah, cool.
I got the bus. I went to Scots, obviously if you've not knew yet, but I went to Scots and I got the bus into school from there.
Yep.
I started getting the school bus from like year 3. So I went to Scots all the way through. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
From kindergarten right through to year 12.
Yeah.
And basically grew up in the south and stayed there till I finished school. Only recently I've moved out of home with a few mates into Rozelle.
Yep.
But yeah, look, it was a trek coming into Scots every day. I'll tell you that much, but like it was alright. I think I met a lot of boys on the school bus. There's a few good lads that I've stayed friends with from there through school. So
cool.
It was a good experience for sure.
And so your family's still in Cronulla ways, are they?
Yeah.
You get to see them much? You get to go down there much?
I try and get down there every week.
Yeah. Have you got a big family, siblings wise or anything?
I've got 2 sisters, an older and a younger sister, and just my mum and dad. But I'm a Greek family, so we have a kind of big, long extended family as usual. But so we try and catch up.
Yeah. Would you say your parents had a big influence on you to play soccer?
Look, they were the most supportive I could have asked for in terms of helping me pursue my dream. But it wasn't something that they pushed into me and told me I had to do or anything. It was always down to me. I think if you look back at a lot of other people, the most successful ones are the ones that had that kind of internal drive to do it themselves, because it's not something that just be forced upon you to become great or to become a good professional. It's something that has to be instilled in yourself. Your attitude, your professionalism, it has to come from you. So like my dad and my mum, I thank them so much. They drove me absolutely everywhere around Sydney. Like I don't think you can imagine like how many hours they would have spent after work. I'm sure they were tired and all that, just being my taxi everywhere. So
yeah, for sure.
That would have helped heaps. And then when I got my license, I took the burden off them a little
bit easier
when I was 17. So that would have helped. But so I
cool.
was really thankful for that.
So was soccer a sport you played when you were younger, or did you play other sports as well?
I played football since I was 5.
Yep.
So I played when I was young.
Yep.
And I played right through every year. But it was funny, like going to a school like Scott's, I always tell people they get you to, obviously we have Saturday sport here, so it made me try other sports.
Yep.
Sometimes I didn't have a choice. Like I had arguments, I think, when I was at school with sports masters and stuff with basketball. You know, like I won't name any names, but there was a few.
So was basketball your summer sport at Scott's?
Basketball was a summer sport.
Yep.
I also played, that was only because cricket became too long.
Okay,
I started playing that in like year 9 or 10. Basketball, and so 10 through to 12 I played basketball, but I played cricket early on, and it was a funny story. I was speaking with my dad recently like about it. When I was younger, I was quite like really into my cricket. Like, and I played a lot year 5 and 6. I was in the A's and whatever, and I really, really liked it. I was a good kind of fast bowler, and I was like, my dad was like, all right, well, would you want to do this or soccer? You can't do both. And I said, look, I think I'm much more promising in football, but I loved cricket a lot, and I used to watch all the tests and stuff on TV and all of that. But yeah, I definitely went down the football route. I'm glad I did.
Well, it seems like you prefer being part of like a team sport than individual sports. Would you say that's fair?
Yeah, like I reckon, like although cricket is a team sport, I think like it just became a bit like it's social, but I didn't really like how lengthy it was. It would have just taken up my whole kind of weekend, whole life. Whereas football, I could get a game in the morning or in the mid-arvo for a few hours. And see my friends and my family and stuff as well. And it was more social like that.
So your parents big soccer fans now? Would you say?
Now, yeah, you should say like my mum and dad. I think they watch every game. They try and come to all the home games if they can. But the away games, they're always watching on TV. And my mum's become, for some reason, a football expert. You know, like we always take the piss out of her. She just has analysis for every game, and like she never used to really comment or know too much, but it's funny. So over the years, I've definitely grown into it.
And growing up, did you have a favourite player that you looked up to and aspired to be like?
He's still playing now, but like because I'm a defender, I like Sergio Ramos. I always loved him for at least the last 10 years. But I think another player, Ronaldinho. He always played for me like with a smile on his face, and he enjoyed the game. You could just tell. So that's someone you idolise because that's where you want to be. I guess just happy playing the sport you love.
And then sort of at the back end of Scott's, were you playing any club soccer there? Or was it just all focused on school soccer?
It was an interesting time actually when it got into kind of year 10 to 12 because especially year 11, 12 where you start getting to HSC and whatever and the studies picked up. And I took a lot of pride in my schoolwork as well. I didn't just want to like just go here and go through the motions and then just play sport and get out. I definitely wanted to work hard and study and do well. And it didn't take precedent, my studies, but it definitely meant that I had to kind of sacrifice one thing, and it wasn't going to be my external sport because that was much more kind of on a greater level than the school one was. So I ended up speaking to sports masters and people here, as I said earlier, like not just from basketball or cricket, but from football as well at the time, saying, look, I have to prioritise my external football a lot more. Led to me, funny story of getting dropped. I got dropped to the thirds in year 12.
Oh, really?
And then I played in the seconds, and then I went back up into the first after a little bit. So you wouldn't believe that I was playing thirds in year 12, and then I was playing in the state team for outside of football like that same year. So it's funny how things went, but not everyone can get their own way. Not everyone can be happy, but I'm happy the way it's turned out.
So you feel like, were there some coaches at Scott's that you really benefited from?
Yeah, for sure. Like we had, obviously, Dave Oswell was a really great mentor for me. Known him since, I don't know what year, 6 maybe,
Okay,
maybe younger.
Yeah.
I'm not
Is he
sure.
an English teacher or just?
He was never my English teacher.
Yeah.
But obviously, yeah, it was in the English department. But just because he had a close relationship with Tony Canning, who was, I'm not sure if he's still
Small Tony.
Yeah,
yeah,
Small
yeah.
Tony,
He's
yeah,
not
so-
here now, but yeah, I remember
but
him.
you remember him?
Yeah.
He was he's a big character for a small Tony, but he's a legend, and he's someone that did a lot with Scots football, and Scots football owes a lot to.
Yeah.
You know, so we'll definitely won a premiership or two with the first or seconds, and so he was another big one in the football world of Scots. Yeah.
Would you have any advice for like some Scots footballers who sort of want to take their game to another level, like you did?
Look, it's about the main thing with football is like your attitude. I think any sport is how much do you actually want to be successful in what you're doing, because you can kind of breeze by, go through school, be happy with that, do all right in your studies, train a couple nights a week, do all right in your football, and you'll get along nicely, you know. But if you want to kind of take your game to the next level, it needs to be part of your everyday. So you might have, it's fine to train 3 nights a week, 4 nights a week, and have days off. But at the same time, on that day off, you should be thinking about, okay, maybe I should do a lot more of my study tonight, whatever your homework, because tomorrow night I've got training and I need to prioritize that. And then if you can get into the gym in your off day, it's a good thing to do some upper body, do some like do whatever you got to do to lift your game back up.
Yeah, cool. So then after school, you made the Australian under-20s. Was this a big achievement for you? Yeah,
this was massive at the time. Looking back, it was my first kind of taste of junior national team setups, and yeah, I really enjoyed that experience. We went away to Qatar.
Oh, cool.
That was the first time I went away, and like I couldn't believe. I thought we were going to Qatar, and it was just going to be some like barren desert land, and like I don't know what I was thinking it was going to be, but it was actually really, really nice. Amazing facilities they have there. Obviously, the World Cup's being held there next year, so that will be massive for that country and for football, because they'll see that this place is huge and full of unbelievable agriculture. And so we went to Qatar, then we did a few other tournaments, and that just definitely aided my development.
So did you get to play a few countries over there? Or?
We versed Qatar itself there. We versed Croatia, Japan, and then that was in Qatar, and then elsewhere we played a few other smaller Asian nations.
Cool.
Yeah.
So like, what does a training week look like for you, or day? Is it long days?
Yeah, it's not too bad. Like I have kind of like jokes with like my girlfriend and that she says like you barely work, you know. Like I work a few hours a day, then I go home and chill out. Like and I think it's not kind of a normal 9 to 5, that's for sure. So like I kind of get into training at around 8:30 in the morning, and then like I guess about normal. But then we kind of tick off. We have breakfast, go through, start the session around 10, and then we might have a meeting in between then or whatever. And start train for about an hour and a half, not much longer than that usually, and then back into the gym, do a gym session, have lunch, and then sometimes during pre-season we'll do a double session in the afternoon. But normally just pre-season. After that, we can either go home, do some more recovery work, massages, whatever we're going to do, and then we head out. So I'm usually home by about 2 or 3.
Yeah, so that's good.
A pretty nice schedule, pretty good life to be fair, but you work hard when you're there, so it's tiring.
Are there days where you get up and you're just dreading it, like you don't want to go?
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's pretty good. I never really dread it. The day I dread going is the day like I don't really want to play anymore. I don't think because you can always be tired or sore or whatever, and then kind of not feel up to. You're a bit off it, you know, but it doesn't mean like you're never really dreading training. Like I think it's always good, regardless. You see the boys. They're a really good group at the Wanderers, and then you just get to do what you love, so it's not really too bad.
Cool. And then like in your off time, what's some hobbies that you like to do?
Look, I don't. Recently, we've been smashing chess. Hey, like since Queen's Gambit came out. Me and my housemates just like get on the chess and play a lot of that. But before that, I guess that was only the last few months. But before that, I used to always go to the beach. I love going to the beach, going for a swim and that, and chilling out. It's works as dual purpose, like for recovery, and then also just to like relax and hang out. And
cool.
I really enjoy that.
Yeah. Do you focus a lot on your diet, what you're eating, what you're putting into your body?
Yeah, like it's not like the first and foremost, like most important thing, I don't think, but what you put in your body like will help you in terms of your recovery, your energy levels, things like that. So like by all means my diet isn't poor, but it's not like a real strict diet. I get to kind of still eat what I want, I guess, because I train hard.
Cool. So you made your debut in 2018. Is this like a dream come true for you?
That was massive.
I
think I was still on a youth contract, and I don't know whether I put it up there as a bigger moment than when I got my first contract, my first pro deal. I think the pro deal was probably a bigger moment for me. I remember just buzzing. I was in the car and my agent called me, said, mate, like check your emails. I go, I can't, I'm driving. Because mate, the contract just got sent through, and I just like was over the moon, But the debut was huge at the time for me. I was still young and it was unexpected. I came on really late because a player got sent off. So they'll just like get on there and go give it a run. So,
Were you nervous for that?
I was nervous. I was.
How'd you deal with that? Were guys talking to you a bit older, like some of the older guys, or?
Yeah, I was next to a really experienced player at the back who's played a lot of like games for the Socceroos and whatnot. Michael Thwaite, and he helped me heaps during those few minutes, I guess, just to hold out a draw. We were 1-1 in Wellington and we just held out. So like when I was on the bench, I wasn't nervous at all because I didn't even think I'd get on, to be fair.
Right.
I guess it's a lesson to me just to always, expect the unexpected.
Were your parents and family there, or?
It was in Wellington, so
so they weren't there.
No one was there.
No friends or anything.
No one was there. I was on my own just with the boys, so that's it.
And then you were part of the Australian under-20 squad, which qualified for the Olympics. Did that go ahead?
The 23 squad.
23.
The Olyroos. So that was the Olympics didn't go ahead last year. But the Olympics is this year. So look, right now it's about me getting as many games as I can. And doing well, and hopefully you got to still be selected for that side. So we've qualified and we're in, but now I've got to be picked and hopefully go on to Olympic Games this year.
So you said that you signed that big deal. Was that a 3-year extension? Was that from last year?
So what I was speaking about, my first pro contract was the one I signed about 3 years ago now. It was a 2-year deal.
2-year deal.
And that was my first pro contract. And then last year was the end of the 2 years.
Right.
So I've just signed a 3-year extension.
Is that big for you as well?
That was massive too. I love being at the Wanderers, so I was going to stay.
Would you say you're on the younger side of the players?
Yeah.
Cool. What age would be the youngest person there?
The youngest boy, there's one young lad who's about 17, who's in the squad. Then there's a couple 18-year-olds, not many like 19-year-olds, and then the majority of the age group, the average age, I'd say, would be about 24 to 5. We've got a couple of boys around 30, and then a few in the mid-20s, and then quite a few young ones, so it kind of evens out to about that.
How do you find playing in front of the RBB fans? Are they pretty crazy?
Yeah, they're crazy. Like we really missed them during COVID, I think. But they're a crazy bunch, and they're so passionate, so it's really good to play in front of them.
Cool. Any stories around them? Do they any background around them?
Nothing crazy that's happened to me per se. I think the biggest thing is kind of just their willingness just to let off flares at any point, and I rate that. I think it's so good for
just in the stadium, just letting off one.
As long as it's like relatively safe, I guess is the biggest issue. With like kind of like in burning chairs and whatever. I don't think the ground's like that, and they get a bit annoyed. But I think as long as it's done safely, I think it adds to the atmosphere of the game. I've been involved in games with flares, and we had a really amazing game against Leeds. I'm not sure if there was a flare that game, but we had an amazing game against Leeds at pre-season last year, and that was like unbelievable. We packed out Bankwest Stadium to open up Bankwest. Just opened, and that was huge. So
that's cool. What are your goals looking forward for the Western Sydney Wanderers? Like, where do you want to get to?
Look, as a team, we definitely we're doing quite well this year.
Yeah.
We have a good squad this year,
Yeah.
a lot of depth, and I think just kind of moving on and playing in the finals this year.
Yeah.
The ultimate goal is to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
And personally, I'm aligned with these goals. I want to do that too. I want to win things. You always want to win things in your career. You can look back and say you had a good career, but if you didn't win anything, then it's kind of a bit tough to have memories of. So definitely win this year, but also on a personal note, just play as many games as I can, play well, become like just a regular and a starter, and really just play my football that I know I can.
Yeah, cool. Are you studying anything at the moment?
I'm at uni, I'm at UTS, and I'm studying exercise sport management.
Yeah.
So that's part-time at the moment to kind of fit in with my football and manage all that. But so
life after soccer, would you see yourself maybe going into that industry?
Yeah, potentially. It's something that there's no real, there's a lot of things I can move into, and it's a good. The subjects in that degree are quite, like, some of them are quite broad.
Yeah.
There's sciences, there's management, so there's a few things I can go down in the later years of the course, so wait and see.
Yeah, cool. Is there a goal or like a win, say, that you've stood out in your soccer career?
I've scored 2 goals in my career in the A-League. I only played 30 games, so I reckon that's all right for a defender. But I scored, my first goal was obviously massive.
Yeah.
For me, just debut goal. It's like anything like scoring, first 100 in cricket or your first try in rugby or whatever. So it's like anything. But yeah, my first goal was cool, and I remember that like picture by picture. I just remember exactly what happened. And then my second goal I scored was a unreal goal, to be fair. I scored a really good goal, and it kind of went a bit viral, so it was really funny.
Oh, sick.
It was like a heel flick, like from a cross, a free kick. So tricky one, and I don't know how it went in, to be fair. Absolute like fluke, but I'll take it anyway.
I'm assuming you've played at some pretty cool stadiums. Do you have a favourite stadium you like to play?
In the A-League, the Bankwest Stadium is undoubtedly the best stadium. I think. Played at Amy Park. That's always a good venue.
In Melbourne?
Yeah, in Melbourne. If they can get fans there, it's a really good stadium. Played at the massive ANZ Stadium. Yeah. It's just huge. But it never fills out. So the atmosphere is never really great because what is it, like 70,000?
Yeah, 80,000.
80,000. So that's massive. But Bankwest, in terms of atmosphere and like quality, I love that ground. Yeah.
What's the home ground for the Wanderers?
That's it.
Oh, it's Bankwest.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Did you support the Wanderers as a kid?
They were kind of a new team.
Oh, okay, right.
So they came in when, I don't know, what was it, 2012, 13, I believe.
Yep.
God, someone will have to check that, but I might be wrong, I might get hammered for it. But they didn't come in, when the A-League started, so they're relatively newer.
Yeah.
But in their short history have won a lot of things, so a massive club already in the short time they've been around. So I never... Growing up in Sydney, you can forgive me, I was a Sydney FC fan growing up. Yeah. But that was the only Sydney club we had. So, but then when the Wanderers came in, and especially when I started playing for them, I'm a Wanderer till I die now. So there's no question about that. Yeah.
Do you have any superstitions pre-game or after game?
I don't. No. It's funny. A few teammates might have a few superstitions and little funny things they do, but not me.
Yeah. No. Fair enough. All right, we'll finish up with some questions from the fans. First one. What age did you realise you wanted to be a footballer?
I realised I wanted to be a footballer. I had a conversation, I think, with my dad, and he basically just said, I think I was 11, and he said to me, look, like, you got to kind of do this, like, now you got to take it seriously, or like, it's up to you, take it seriously or don't. Actually, I'll correct myself. I was even younger. I was 9. I was 9 years old.
So he's telling you then you need to take it seriously.
Well, he didn't push it onto me like that. He kind of just said, look, like, if you want to do this, like, full out, like, it's down to you. I'll drive you anywhere you want to go. I'll do whatever kind of like you want. If you want to go to this academy, if you don't want to train tonight, I'll stay at home. I'll have dinner, I'll go to bed. Like, I don't need to be out here in the cold waiting for you or doing any of that. But he did it.
Yeah.
No excuse, like, because I wanted to.
Yeah.
And so I think I was about 9.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
How is it coming through a school where it lacked a lot of popularity?
It's a really good question, actually, because it's a big problem, I think, here at Scott's, because it's one of the biggest sports, undoubtedly, in the world and in Australia as well. And I think the school's so massive on its rugby, and with like all respect to rugby, you know, they've had a lot of success here at the school and in the GPS and all of that. Rowing as well and stuff, everyone gets up for that, but football perhaps doesn't get the same kind of light. But I think you just got to focus on yourself, I guess, and I always knew that it was bigger than Scott's, what I wanted to do. But Scott's was just a kind of pathway for me to kind of just still play with my friends and my schoolmates on the weekend and get a few wins and that. So I got to give a shout out to my mate Tom Watson. He went to school with me, a good mate of mine, known him forever, and he was captain of the seconds. He never lives it down that he was my captain in the seconds when I got dropped. So yeah, he loves it. So
hold that against you.
Yeah, shout out to Watto. Yeah, that's it.
Who's your favourite Aussie driller? Do you have a favourite driller?
Aussie driller. I don't really listen to Aussie drill, to be fair, but I know the few of the boys like listen to Hooligan Hefts and all that. But I don't have Aussie drillers. I listen mainly to UK probably drillers if I do. Yeah. Cool.
Have you ever dived for a penalty, or what's the worst dive you've ever seen?
Oh, I haven't dove for a penalty. I don't think I have. Nah, like not that I'd want to remember.
There's some pretty bad ones out there.
There are a lot of bad ones. I think there's one that Harry Kane got shown when he dove against Arsenal, and it was a post-game interview. Imagine like this, and you're the interviewer, and he showed it on the big screen to Harry Kane and goes like, "What do you think of this?" Like, and it was his dive, and it was so obviously not a penalty. It was unbelievable. So that was something really funny that sticks in my mind. Yeah.
If you could be professional in any other sport, what would it be?
Oh, we've had this conversation with a mate recently, I think. Yeah, look, like without just thinking about money and stuff, like I think it'd be so sick to, like, I think basketball's like unreal. I think I love that sport. I love like everything about it. I think it's so cool. I love how they warm up and just they're on their own, they just chill out, do what they want. Yeah, it's really cool. NFL and stuff's like sick, but it's a real hard slog. I think like tennis is sick too. I'd say basketball and tennis, but if I could pick one, I'd say basketball. Yeah.
Do you have a special team you support or
in the basketball? I've always been a Raptors fan. It was really funny because I won it like not too long ago, and I think maybe 3 or 4 years ago. What was it? Yeah, and that was really cool for me because I've always just gone for the Raptors for some reason.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Growing up, what footballer would you aspire to be and why?
I mentioned this earlier. Ronaldinho is someone that I always kind of looked up to. Just how he played with a smile. I love that. Yeah.
Cool. Was it ever in your mind to try to take your career overseas out of school or in the future?
Yeah, for sure. I kind of always had aspirations to play in Europe, to play in Asia, and to play in like big nations. For big teams, like, and I still have those aspirations. Still, I get up every day and work hard. Like, as much as I love playing for the Wanderers, you know, like, there's no reason why I can't stay here for longer. I love the club, and I love doing what I do every day. But if an opportunity like that in Europe came up, a big opportunity, I think I'd definitely think about it for sure.
Cool. Thanks for coming in, Tass. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries.
His socials will be in the description below, and so will ours. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Pull up, streets are smoking now. Yeah, trenches flooded now. Why do they talk now? They try to best monkey, get me excited and I let it.